Tyler, when you came to LA, I'm sorry, how long ago? Was it 3 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, forgive me, okay. Did you have a plan in place for auditioning and getting an agent and manager? And then if it didn't work out, you also had a backup plan?
That's a funny question. It's a very good question. So I have a very strong opinion with regards to plan Bs. I think that if you have a plan B, that life will push you to addressing and confronting that plan B. And so if that plan B is in place, it's all too easy to go with that. So with me, this is my plan A, B, C, D, all the way through Z. And the result is a feeling of resiliency that says anything external, any setbacks, any obstacles that are external are only going to be temporary, because my internal drive to get things done and to really make a name for myself in this business is only extinguishable by one thing, and that's the end of the road. So, so there's no stopping for me.
And I think as soon as you start thinking about a plan B, I think it's too late. I think you've given up right away. Even for me, it's hard. I've been trying to do this for like 12 years or something, and it's a long time. And if you think, oh, then I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm like, makes no sense. You know, it's like you commit, and if it takes 30 years, it's going to take 30 years. But you cannot think about a plan B. Even if sometimes you're struggling, you want to die or whatever. It's like you have to keep pushing. You push, and then you hope that at one day something's going to happen. And after all those years, for me now, I'm at the point of doing my first feature film. Now I just got a funding for the second one. So it's like things start to move, but it takes 15 years or so. So you cannot think about a plan B. And the same thing, I think, for any kind of artist, painting, whatever, actors. As soon as you think that, I think it's kind of you're kind of killing your soul a little bit.
And just to add one thing to that, so I'm a boxer. I started boxing in Brooklyn many years ago, and I now box out here as well. And they have a slogan in the gym above the ring, and it says, "It ain't easy." And it's supposed to apply to training but it also extends into life as well. And I think that this business ain't easy. I know this is poor grammar, but this business ain't easy. Life ain't easy. A struggle isn't easy, and the result is that you got to be tough to make it in this business, and you got to be resilient. And I think resiliency is the number one key, because you're going to get beaten down. Just like in boxing, but it's how you get back up that really makes a difference. So
cheesy.
Is that cheesy?
But I like the sign though. That's great. I mean, do you carry that sign sort of as a metaphor for your life? Let's suppose you had a bad audition, or maybe one that was great and they loved you when you walked in the room, and of course, as Murphy's Law, you don't get it for some reason. So where are you when you don't get that phone call? Because a lot of times they don't call.
Sure. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with where you're based. Are you process-based, or are you more outcome-based? And for me, I find myself at the happiest when I have a process-based mentality. And the sort of consequence of that is that you become divorced from the outcome itself. And so if I went into the room, I did the kind of work that I set out to do, I made clear choices, I was prepared, then ultimately when I go in there, I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it for the room, I'm not doing it for the director, I'm not even doing it for the material, really. I'm doing it for me. And when I walk out, that same kind of mantra holds true. I did it for me, and what their reaction was, that's
Yeah, exactly. Who cares about what they think? It's the same thing with the feature film. I did it for myself. Some will love it, some will hate it. Some will love this guy, some will hate it. It's part of life, you know what I mean? It's like you cannot please anybody. As long as you gave your all, you did it for yourself, move on after that, you know what I mean? Think about something else. And even I did short film that was not successful. I didn't go in festivals or stuff like that. Even people were like, oh my God, it's horrible. Move on, you have to have a strong back to be able to get roll off a little bit, but you just move on, and just who cares? And I've told to actors so many times that they killed it. They did an amazing job, and it's like, but you're not right for it. But you did an amazing job, but just continue, keep pushing, and it's gonna happen. You just have. It's not just about doing an audition. You need to fit the role perfectly. So he's totally right what he just said.
And I also think it has a lot to do as well. It's sort of a gut check on what you're and only you can answer this question for yourself, but what your motivations are in getting involved in any art form and any side of the camera. You know, I like to use, like, you know, the allegory of a cobbler, like a line of vendors. You know, you got one vendor who's got a set of shoes, and he says, hey, I'm selling shoes because I really want to get famous, you know. Next guy down the line says, you know, I'm selling shoes because I just really want to get rich. And the guy on the third guy down the line says, hey, I'm selling shoes because I love making shoes. Here's the leather, it's been imported from here. Here are the laces. It's you know, it's an age-old tradition, this kind of thing. And that kind of love, that kind of passion, that kind of craftsmanship.
Can beat anything.
Yeah, and that's something that, I mean, if there's one thing that I aspire to be, it's a craftsman, and I want to be that third cobbler, if at all possible.
Was there a time you can recount where, let's say, you did get beaten down? You know, you're in LA, you get cut off in traffic, all this stuff happens, you're like, you know what, I'm not sure that I really want to be here anymore. And then you reminded yourself that I don't know what else I would be doing other than this.
Yes. In fact, not too long ago, I came out here with an agent, and it was an agent who I was set up with because of a relationship I was in prior, a romantic relationship, and it just wasn't a good fit. And we parted ways, not too long ago. And I had a little bit of that dark night of the soul, to use a little save the cat terminology. But ultimately, I got picked up by someone who really believes in me, and who's really willing to stick their neck out for me, take a chance on me. And you know, during that dark night, I had to ask myself, you know, am I going to allow this one particular perspective to influence how I feel about myself, or am I going to be the driving force behind my own fate, my own destiny, whatever you want to call it? And ultimately, I felt like I gotta get in the driver's seat. So, and there's a lot of that in this business with this kind of passive attitude towards getting work, which is, man, I hope my phone rings. Well, you gotta make your phone ring. You know, you can't just wait for it to ring. It's not just gonna ring on its own.
So that was just sort of a one-night process, or did it?
No, of course not. And I mean, and there's been many, and I anticipate confronting many more of those sorts of gut check moments. But I think really what you have to defer back to is exactly like you started the question out on, which is, without having a plan B, you think, what else could I possibly do? What else could I be disconnected to? And for me, there is nothing else. So it's not a hard choice in those moments. It's more a question of, okay, what do we do now, as opposed to let's cut and run, you know? So, you know, they always say you got to fight your way out of the corner. You know, they're not just going to let you out. You got to fight your way out of the corner. Sorry, it goes back to boxing for me.
Yeah, I know.